Hey everybody, how you doing today? This is Oshijax here. I'm making this video today just to kind of keep the channel active, and just because, I wanted to tell y'all that I was just taking a little bit of a break with IPW. I know it's been a week since I posted anything up, and usually I'm a little better about this when I'm in the zone. I wanted to just do this video because, again, keeping the channel active and because I've always wanted to do a little something like this where I have just given tips on commentary to try to help people and improve their commentary, or at least just give a few pointers I don't think anybody thinks of, or just kind of see how or show you how I think from my point of view when it comes to commentary. When people ask me, God, Oshijax, how are you so good on commentary? God, Oshijax, you're the best I've seen, man. And I'm not having an ego when I say that. This is legit comments I've seen from people before, and I'm flattered that most people feel that way. And for those of you who don't or just don't really care, more power to you. You can do what you want. I'm not here to try to help you, but if you want to stick around to listen, I mean, I don't really know what to say here. I guess what I mean to say is just for the people who don't really need the help or just feel like they don't need to hear it, then they don't have to. They can just do what they want. I'm not here to hold their hand and tell them you need to watch this because you suck. No, not at all. But anyway, uh, these are going to be off the wall and these are going to be off the top of the head. And I'm just thinking out loud when I say most of these. But the first thing I want to cover over just how to improve your commentary a little bit is I think people need to understand just what kind of voice they have when it comes to commentary. Just what do you want to be? Do you want to be the lead guy, or do you want to be just kind of like Mike Tenay, chiming in and offering some sound advice and thoughts every now and then, or do you want to be the lead guy like a Jim Ross or fuck, I don't know. Jim Ross is really all I know as a good lead guy, other than maybe Joey Styles. Um, just like, some of the great commentators you've heard, those guys who have a voice you recognize because they say, "And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Monday Night Raw." And they get so into the moment, and you feel like you're right there in the crowd, even though you're sitting at home on your couch or bed or whatever, watching Monday Night Raw on the television. You know what I mean? Those are going to be the types of guys you want in call. You're going to want someone who feels like they're right there. Forget the fact that you're watching WWE 13 or whatever video game you're seeing this happen on. A good commentator will have great inflection. They will also be able to just, have a clear, concise voice that I think everyone is going to get behind. You know what I mean? They're going to have a voice, an identity that people recognize, and when people hear them, they know they're in for a hell of a show. But that's how I feel. And also, the thing don't like people doing when it comes to that, with the clear, concise voice, it's good to be hype. It's good to be excited. It's good to feel like you're right there in the moment. It's just bad when, say, for example, you're like this loud and nobody can hear a word what you're saying. And then it just makes all of your commentary pointless because nobody has any idea what to tell you. You know what I mean? You have to do this in a way where people can understand what you're hearing. If you're naturally loud like I am, for me, I have my microphone volume all the way down to the nearest uh, to the end. It's a little above the end, but it's at the quietest it can be without muting it. And I think it works fine there. For me, it does, But then again, I might have a little damaged hearing. I'm not sure of that. I wouldn't say that. But even then, I don't think it's that bad. You turn it down if you're naturally loud like I am, and you're going to be at least 10 times louder than you normally are. You turn the volume down to the lowest possible volume that you can be at and still be loud and yet just sound like this and sound clear and concise. You know what I mean? But that's big tip number one I can offer you there. And number two, when I say, have a character, do something that stands out, contribute to the match. Because the commentator's job is not to put themselves over. They're not there to talk about, what kind of day they've had. They're not there to talk about, what kind of food they ate for dinner, for lunch. What are they doing after the show is done? What are they doing here? What are they doing there? That's the reason why when Frank Dog ever mentioned anything to me about what Oshu Jax did on SmackDown, I would turn to him and say, "This is Raw. Anything that happens on SmackDown stays there. I'm a commentator. I'm focusing on the match. Please don't bring this up to me while I'm on commentary." That's what I don't like about some people. It's just that if they're going to do the whole commentator wrestler gimmick, they need to do it, and they need to be consistent about it. You know what I mean? If you're the commentator at that point and you work double duty as a wrestler, either it be on the same night or just down the road, you don't need to be talking about what's going on with you unless you're commentating a rival's match. You don't need to be saying you don't need to be saying on commentary about, what do you want to do to this guy if you're just there to talk about what you want to do, who you want to face. You need to be putting these people over as superstars and legitimate threats and main eventers and whatnot, because if you don't and you just focus on getting yourself over more than you focus on getting the talent over, you're not doing your job as a commentator. And the only time you should ever be trying to put yourself over or trying to put over an opponent or just, offer your thoughts on your rival is when you're commentating one of their matches, and it will be a special guest commentary thing. Because the commentator should be someone who's not wrestling naturally. I used to do it for a while, but that's one of the main reasons also I quit commentating WEDF, is because I think there's a disconnect when there's wrestlers who are commentating, because you can't do both. It's one thing for a mid-carder or an upper-carder to commentate and wrestle. It's another if it's a main eventer, because no main eventer has ever said, "I pulled double duty as a commentator and served as a world champion at the same time," because you can't do it. But anyway, so then that's the other tip I would have there is just, contribute. You are there to put the talents over. You're not there to get yourself over. If somebody does something impressive in the ring, really impressive, like say, for example, a high-flying wrestler leaps over the top rope with a shooting star press and takes out one guy on the outside, you need to be putting that over as one hell of an athletic maneuver, because that's certainly something that not many people can do normally. Or if a guy hits a devastating finishing maneuver or hits a nice or does a nice reversal that you really thought was sleek and cool, you need to put it over, because it's going to make these guys look better in the ring. And the better you make them look, the more people are going to get attached to them if they like them. You know what I mean? That's basically what I mean when it comes to that. And a third tip I would have when it comes to that, when it comes to talking about the talents, don't say something that could potentially be degrading or defacing them. Now, I understand, some people, you got to know your role, too. You got to know if you're a babyface or if you're a heel. If you're doing solo commentary, you're automatically doing both. You're in the middle. Let me put it to you like this. If you're a solo commentator, you don't need to be trying to, heel up on a babyface or, bury a heel, or say, just hate all heels. You know what I mean? That's why on commentary you heard me saying, like, I've heard guys like Tyler King and superstar Craig David have had attitude problems, But I've also said some of those attitudes can be deserved because some of these guys know they're that damn good, and some of these guys, when they get in the ring, they're going to do something that's going to make you believe that these guys, even despite their attitudes, are really talented and deserve to be here and deserve any sort of success they get so long as they work for it. But when somebody does something that's so disgusting that you don't like and that nobody would like, such as LaMarcus Carter in IPW walking out on the tournament and leaving John Blackcross high and dry, that's where, when you as a solo commentator need to put this over as something that's just unfathomable and unheard of and something that should not be condoned and something that's, just cowardly, something that is arrogant, and something that just says, that guy needs to get his ass kicked. I don't care by who, I don't care how, but somebody needs to find him and give him a swift kick in the ass for what he did. That's where you need to start doing all that. But you also need to be fair about it. Because if a heel wins a match legitimately, you put them over and you say, I have no quarrel about it. The heel won. I don't like their attitude. I don't like this. I don't like that. I might not like them. But you know what? They've earned my respect tonight. They did great in this match. And there's no telling just where these people are going to go. The sky is the limit. You got to give it to them. They won this match legitimate. You can't take it away from them. Don't take away any moment a babyface or a heel leaves. Don't do it. It's not smart. Because if you do, you're not putting them over, you're burying them. You're just shoveling dirt on them, and if you're not making their wins or their big moments seem like they mean something, then why are you commentating? Why are you putting a headset on and doing this if you're not going to put them over? You're the commentator. The commentator is the guy who's trying to get somebody over and trying to help these work. It's like John Cena when it comes to his rap gimmick with the Doctor of Thugonomics. I think what helped him a little bit when it comes to color commentary is Taz. Because as you all know, Taz helped give the guy street credibility. Anytime Taz was in the ring, or Taz was on commentary when John Cena was on SmackDown, he was talking about how Cena, he was talking about how Cena's born and raised in the streets, did this, did that, but of course you saw when he went over to Raw, Jim Ross was calling him a fine young American man, and it's like, okay, well, what happened to Cena being raised from the streets if he's lived a normal life? You know what I mean? Because then you just have a disconnect. Because then it's like, well, what is he now? I thought he was the Doctor of Thugonomics, tough as nails, raised from the streets, went hard every single day he went in the ring. Now he's just a fine young man who's turned into a dynasty and has been destined for success. That's where I think the disconnect is, because I think people connect to characters better if you be consistent with their backgrounds and their stories and don't mix them up. You know what I mean? That would be like me saying, this guy was a former MMA fighter, went undefeated in the cage, did all this and did all that. Then I turned around and I said, well, he was a I don't know. But basically, it's like if I put them over as tough as nails, and then I say they wouldn't hurt a fly. You know what I mean? They couldn't hurt a fly because they're too nice to. You know what I mean? You gotta do something that's consistent, and you gotta have the people connect with a consistent character. Because if they don't, then you're getting them lost in the shuffle, and again, you're not doing your job as a commentator. The number one sole job of the commentator is to put people over, put the action over, put the storylines over. They are the ultimate storyteller, because they're the people you're going to be hearing more than you're going to be hearing the guys in the ring or the guys who cut promos on the microphone. The commentators are the number one people you hear all the time. And people will get over better with a great commentator than they will a subpar average commentator. Because great commentary, ladies and gentlemen, can make an average match look like a good match. But anyway, that's the main basis of it, and I think that's just a little bit of a tip for now. I see I'm getting toward 15 minutes. I don't want to go too long, but I think that's just a little basis. And if you guys want to see a little more, hear a little more about certain subjects and commentary, I'll be happy to do a response video. But the tips I gave here, I think that's just a little bit of a starting point. Have a clear, precise voice, balance your volumes, know who you are and what you are, know the role you're meant to be in, and most importantly, put the action over. Because if you don't, nobody will. Well, that's all about it for me for this part, ladies and gentlemen. Again, if you want to see a little bit more of this or just have a little expansion on some of the topics I cover, that'd be nice to hear your thoughts. But until then, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And have a great day. IPW will be coming to you soon with Stage 3, probably about next week. Have a good day, guys.